You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning. Welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenhoff, coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up on the show today, our friend, colleague, travel companion Todd Alba joining us after 9:30, host of the Todd Alba Show from 2 to 4 across the network. We're going to talk about ICE and some of the actions that have been going on in Chicago, which personally I find very disturbing. One of the ICE agents in Chicago is actually going to be appearing in court, I believe, this morning to answer some questions about whether or not he is following court orders on not throwing tear gas into neighborhoods willy-nilly. We'll talk about ICE coming up with Todd Alba after 9:30. Hour number 2, Corrine Hendrickson is going to be here. Childcare, of course, we heard about so much. That hasn't gone away.
No.
And the funding problems have not gone away, and parents still need childcare.
Yeah. She'll be here at 10:06 this morning, actually talking about 2 events. One taking place tonight in Madison to talk about new approaches, and as I'm going to put in the show notes, new approaches to Americans on how to do healthcare in this state and in this country. And then a second event for tomorrow talking about funding from Madison for more child care assistance, because that is what was done in the budget this year was fine, but certainly not enough. It was 1 year. And unfortunately, if you know anything about Corrine, she is now a former child care provider.
Right? She had to close.
Early development, education, childcare. She used to provide that along with a lot of people. She closed her doors in August, and now she's taking new avenues with We Can, and she will be here in the second hour. So it'll be a great discussion. She always has a lot to say. There's a lot going on, and we're looking forward to talking to her.
Absolutely. Last half an hour of the show, as we always do, we lighten it up with a segment we call Audio Sorbet, where we kick things around unrelated to the news and just talk about silly things so we can all take a breath. We're going to talk about what did you dislike as a kid, which now you love as an adult. This comes about because today is National Chocolate Day.
Oh, doesn't it feel like National Chocolate Day is like 9 times a year?
It should be. Well, there's Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, and then there's probably Chocolate Cake Day, and the chocolate lobby is strong.
Chocolate Lab Day.
Yes, they're strong in this country. So that just got us talking about milk chocolate versus dark chocolate. I know when I was a kid, I loved milk chocolate.
Yeah, of course you did. Of course.
And then as I've gotten older, I love dark chocolate. So we're going to talk about what did you hate as a kid? And now as an adult, you're like, oh, yes, give me more of that. Yeah. That's our audio sorbet coming up after 10:30. And we'll wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. We're doing Halloween themed this week. Today it's the Dirty Dancing edition. Greg had some suggestions which did not make it on to the show today.
All artistic and all tasteful, I might add. Thank you very much.
Sure. That's coming up at the end of the show. We did want to start off and acknowledge the passing of Jerry Taff.
Yes.
Who was on WISN Channel 12 in Milwaukee for decades. And he has passed away at the age of 85. Yeah. I know I watched him for years and years and years, along with Kathy Michaelby. And he retired in 2005, moved back to Texas, which is where he was from, and then passed away apparently last night. I think it's wonderful that he got to have a whole life after he retired.
I mean, 20 years of retirement, that's amazing.
Fabulous.
And he was, he was an icon growing up. He, along with some other people, were just the mainstays of news, especially on television.
Yeah.
And they were the trusted people. Like there was a gravitas, as you said, that when they spoke, you listened and you trusted them. Another person, you mentioned Kathy
Michaelby,
but another person, John Drilling on Channel 6,
yes,
was just one of those guys who Yes, the news you're giving me is the news I need, and I trust you. And Jerry Taft was one of those guys as well. And I really, when I walked in this morning, you said what happened. I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, but again, what a wonderful life.
Yeah.
I know he was a big mentor for a whole bunch of kids in journalism programs.
Yeah.
He did that for years.
Yeah.
So well done, Jerry Taft, and a life well lived.
Exactly.
Life
And
well lived.
Here's to better tomorrows.
Well said.
Thank you.
Jerry Taft. We're going to start off with healthcare. Not a surprise. This from the Wisconsin Examiner. Eric Gunn with the byline, healthcare.gov insurance rates to skyrocket for next year without enhanced subsidies, according to Governor Evers. The cost for healthcare purchased on healthcare.gov in Wisconsin could jump anywhere from 45 to 800%. Depending upon where you live, according to Governor Evers on Monday. This is made worse, of course, with the end of the enhanced federal subsidies provided in the form of tax credits that help lower the costs through the marketplace since 2021. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody thinks that Obamacare or the ACA is the ideal.
Yeah.
But we forget what it was like before that.
Mm-hmm.
When insurance companies could deny you if you had a pre-existing condition.
Yes. And they didn't cover things like preventative care.
At all.
No. And some people, tens of millions. This is a number you heard all the time in 2008 during the election. 45 million people in America were without health care because it was too expensive. It's not ideal what we have now, and I feel like it's eroding slowly and slowly. Every day we find new politicians trying to undercut the ACA, but we have it, and it's for what it does, it's good, and it makes healthcare an affordable / achievable goal.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect, and frankly, I'll say it. I'd rather just have a single payer. I'd rather just have or a public option.
Well,
one of the two would be great.
And that was originally, from my understanding, what Obamacare was supposed to be. It was supposed to be single payer.
Yeah.
In order to get it passed, they had to, what's that word? Compromise.
Even though the Democrats had a supermajority at the time, too.
But they still had to compromise.
Yep.
It's kind of where we are now.
Are we?
Where the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, and are yet maintaining. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said yesterday, we don't control everything.
We're not in charge.
We're not in charge.
Yeah.
You're not?
And look at past clips and news stories about the various shutdowns. And just as a reminder, this is Trump's third shutdown. Republicans have been mostly in control in modern shutdowns over the past few decades.
By far.
And it never comes out good for them. They always look like the fools. They always look at the perpetrators. They're always the ones that people point their fingers at. Now, granted, right now, there are a lot of people saying it's Schumer shutdown. Good job on alliteration. But it just doesn't hold up because you can do a press conference every day, which Mike Johnson is doing. But it's just the lies. The lies started with, well, they wouldn't sign a clean CR. Well, it wasn't a clean CR. Sorry, it just was not. But then it moves on to this is Schumer's shutdown. Then it moves into we don't have the power to do this. I mean, it just snowballs to the point where I'm really waiting for one press person to just be like, stand up and go, you're lying. Stop lying. And then they throw their credentials down because they know they're fired. But someone has to stand. I mean,
be nice to go out in a blaze like that.
Yeah, between the president insulting journalists to their faces in press conferences and Mike Johnson standing at that pulpit lying every single day about this, it's just to the point where, yeah, you are in charge. And if you don't think you are, who do you think is dumb enough to believe it?
Well, according to if you're on Twitter as much as I am, and I'm on it a lot.
Yeah.
And there are two different timelines you can follow.
Yeah.
And one is the following, where you actually follow people on Twitter and then their content comes up. The other one is called the For You tab that Elon so graciously started when he took over and began to ruin Twitter. My For You timeline is full of nothing but Republicans calling it the Schumer shutdown and blaming Democrats for this shutdown. It's kind of interesting because a person of some authority had some really hard ideas about whose fault it is when the government shuts down. Calvin, I believe we have this clip from this person. Can you play that clip, please?
Who's going to bear the brunt of the responsibility if indeed there is shutdown of our government?
Well, if you say who gets fired, it always has to be the top.
Does it?
mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top.
Who
And
is talking?
The president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead. You know, the interesting thing is in 25 years and 50 years and 100 years from now, when the government is, when they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the president of the United States. Who was the president at that time? Mm-hmm. They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate, who's running things in Washington. So I really think the pressure is on the president.
That would be Donald Trump, the president of our country, saying that it is the president's fault if there is a government shutdown. And he said the president should be the one bringing people back into a room to negotiate. And Trump has refused to do that.
We are into the 28th day today is
Of
the
the shutdown.
We are about 7 days away from tying the longest one, which was under Trump. And there is no sign of anything happening. The Republicans are not there. Mike Johnson has sent his people home. There are politicians in Washington trying to get things done, but the guy in charge, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson,
He has no power.
No power.
I can't do anything.
They have been gone for 6 weeks now, and again, and I just he sent them home so they can't swear in Adelita Gojalva, who would vote most likely to release the Epstein files. The Epstein files are why they went home. The shutdown is their problem to fix, and the Democrats aren't in as much power as they like to make you think. And it's almost insulting that I have to say that out loud because I feel like I'm insulting everyone's intelligence.
But again, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes ingrained.
Yeah.
And at least from what I'm seeing on my For You feed on Twitter, they're hammering that pretty hard.
Yeah.
But all is well, everybody, because they've got plans. The Republicans have health care plans. Calvin, Mike Johnson talking about that yesterday. Can you play that clip, please?
And these ideas have been on paper for a long time.
Yeah.
There's volumes of this stuff.
Really?
Volumes of it. What we're doing right now, what we have been doing, what we were already doing, because we knew we were coming up to the end of the year, and we know that healthcare is a major burden for the American people. We've been working on it since day one of this Congress.
Really?
We worked on it in the years prior.
Yeah.
And we've already demonstrated this is not talking points for us. When we say the Republican Party is the only party that has any chance at fixing health care for the American people, we've demonstrated it.
So you have power.
We put it into the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. As you know, we strengthened the Medicaid program. We started there.
You started by gutting Medicaid.
Yeah.
That's your plan? Let's go back to when they were going to repeal and replace. Remember his first time around?
Yes.
Repeal and replace. They were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. They got to the point of repealing it, which failed. Thank you, John McCain. There was never a replacement. Ever.
No. It was,
Never.
It was 2 weeks. We were going to replace it. That was
concepts of a plan.
That was 2017.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a break coming up, but you can always join us at 855-752-4842. You're listening to Matt Nair on Air on this Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Good morning, live stream.
Hello.
On Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Just a reminder, WAUK 540 AM and 100.3 FM. We have a better signal in Milwaukee County.
Yeah.
So it's easier than ever for you to follow along with us. Listen to Civic Media on 540 AM and now on 100.3 FM. That's a real strong signal in the greater Milwaukee area with all your news and all the shows and our show and Tom Hartman and Todd Alba. So if you're in the Milwaukee area and you want to pick up our signal, 100.3 FM is the way to go.
Hello, WAUK.
Hello, WAUK, and thank you. We were talking before the break about healthcare coverage purchased on healthcare.gov in Wisconsin is going to jump. Governor Evers predicting anywhere from 45 to 800% increases in healthcare, depending upon where you live. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says, well, it's all the Democrats' fault. The Republicans have pages and pages, Greg, of a healthcare plan.
Concepts upon concepts of plans.
I believe there is a clip related to concepts. Calvin, do we have that clip, please? Can you play that?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now.
That was during the debate.
Yep.
With Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
I'm not president, so why should I tell you anything?
Why should I even be thinking about it if I'm not president yet?
Yeah. And
do we just have concepts?
I have concepts of how I'm going to work out, but I'm not thin, Jane, so why should I bother?
855-752-4842. Jean from Eau Claire on the line. Good morning, Jean. Thanks for joining us. What do you want to say about this?
Well, thank you so much for taking my call and your outstanding job as usual. You know, I want to remind people who holds the purse strings.
Yep.
Where are the taxpayer dollars going? Why is he not working for the people of the United States of America? Why does he run when these issues need to be solved? And why do we keep putting in people who to represent us who don't give one iota about the people? And this has happened in Wisconsin with Scotty Walker regime, with the Federalist Society, and all these wealthy people who did a lot of problems or caused a lot of problems in Wisconsin. Bad roads. They were going to turn some of our roads into,
tolls.
Yes, and it's unbelievable. And people need to really pay attention because you are being repeated over and over again lies. And if you hear it enough, psychologically, this is proven over and over, the same statement, the same garbage over and over and over again, it sticks. And when people ask you, why do you think that way, you don't have an answer. You don't have an answer, but you know that Biden's a bad guy. You know the Democrats are bad, but you can't tell us why. Because you've been hoodwinked and people have been utilizing technique to make you think the way that you do. So start questioning your own thoughts and what is really going on here. Am I getting better health care? Are they really working for the people of Wisconsin and the world and everything else? And then where's Trump?
Yeah.
Where is the president of the United States?
Oh, he's overseas.
He's overseas or
Thanks,
playing
Jean.
golf or, it's...
Yeah, he's overseas. By the way, the first president to ever go overseas in the midst of a shutdown, by the way.
Well, they're all getting paid, so it's fine.
That's right. They are
They're all still
paid.
getting paid
They're
right
getting
now.
paid. 855-752-4842. We are talking about healthcare is going to jump dramatically in the next couple of days.
Have you seen something already coming down the pike if you're taking the ACA or just your healthcare costs in general? I mean, we're going to start seeing people talking about this. And if you've already seen the future, let us know.
Well, and the other thing that he's talking about, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is talking about, under Biden, they had removed medical debt from people's credit reports. Trump's going to reverse that.
Oh, because that's...
So if you have medical debt, it's going to be harder for you to get by and get loans and things like that. Brett from Brown Deer is joining us. Good morning, Brett. What did you want to say about this?
Good morning, guys. Hey, what's driving me nuts is our media. When he stands up there and calls it the Schumer shutdown, where is one media person to say, you don't need one single Democrat to pass the continuing resolution? It's held up in the Senate. Senator Thune, and they know it, can call for a one-time vote, take about a half hour to suspend the filibuster for the continuing resolution. They've done it for federal judges.
Yep.
They've done it many times.
When it's good for them.
But they hang it up on Schumer because it's kitschy sound.
Yeah.
Schumer shutdown.
Yep.
No, you want it shut down so you can fire people. And because right now with no Congress, they're out for 5 weeks. They should only be out for more than 3 days under Senate permission. But this gives Trump unlimited power.
Yeah.
He has no checks and balance.
That's exactly right, Brett.
You're right, Brett. But and thank you for calling. But again, Mike Johnson has pretty much ceded power to Trump anyway.
Oh yeah, it's all his.
Mike Johnson has no power. He can't do anything, and he also doesn't know anything.
He's not. No one's telling him anything.
By his own admission.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, never read it. Oh, I've been so busy. Oh, did that happen? I didn't know that happened.
He said that. My word.
Oh my goodness. Where's my pearls? Yeah, the Daily Show has an entire compilation of Mike Johnson saying, "Oh, I don't know about that."
I mean,
think about that. The people who have access to vast amounts of information that the rest of us can't see, Mike Johnson doesn't know about.
He's the third in charge,
but he knows. I know nothing.
Nobody tells me anything. I know nothing. I just work here.
Colonel Klink. News coming up next when we return. Todd Alba will be here. We're going to talk about ICE in Chicago. Stay close. You're listening to Matt Nair on Air on the Civic Media Radio Network. Stay with us. Good morning. Welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach. Our one, our only Cal Zone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Joining us from his home studio, our friend and colleague and travel companion, Todd Alba, host of the fabulous Todd Alba Show across the network. Weekdays from 2 to 4. Good morning. What is going on your apartment?
I'm here in my apartment, and let me tell you, this is the only way I can get a man to my apartment these days. It's the annual filter changing, and the wonderful and talented maintenance folks from the Avante Properties, they're in for their annual and they come in and they take care of us, and they're changing our filter out. So A, the furnace works, and B, my allergies aren't that bad.
Well, that's good.
I mean, how about that? I mean, the hardworking folks here are getting it done. So
very nice.
They were scheduled, and so I had to be here, so I decided to come in. So, yeah.
Well, say hello, maintenance guys.
Jay Matt Nair on Air, statewide radio show. She says hello and thank you very much. He says hello back.
Oh, good. Just want to remind people, we have a new daily newsletter called Civic Media Today, which is pretty fabulous, and it's completely free. And I subscribe to it. I get it every day.
Yeah.
It's really a comprehensive look of what is going on all across the state.
Yeah.
With all the different shows across the state and all the different stations and everything. So sign up for Civic Media Today. It is free, which means it's not going to cost you anything.
civicmediatoday.substack.com. Subscribe right now.
And it will come to your inbox every day, just like that. Give a little update, and it gives you little snippets from all the shows.
Yeah.
And if you want to go back and listen to the entire episode, then you can do that too.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty great. Todd, we wanted to...
deal, and the good thing is that Katie Couric came with the Today Show trademark, so that's great. So we get a column for her every day, so that's fantastic.
Does she know about that?
I'm not sure, but
she may not. I think she may not. We wanted to talk a little bit about ICE and their various actions around the country, particularly in Chicago. This is from CBS News. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino will appear in court today amid complaints about federal agents' use of tear gas. Bavino oversees Border Patrol in Chicago and has been accused himself of tossing tear gas canisters into a crowd in the Little Village neighborhood without justification and also in violation of the judge's order. The judge had said, you can't do that, essentially, and you're making situations worse. And after she issued that ruling, he allegedly went and did this anyway.
Before you say your thoughts, Todd, I just want to say really quick, I am personally shocked that this is even happening, having an ICE officer in court. Because it seems like they've operated with impunity since they've hit the ground running, that the fact that they're even coming to court in the first place is beyond me. But I'm sorry, Todd, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I think it's a good sign that at least the court system is still functioning on its basic level. Last night, I said to a couple of my friends, there was a 2-minute digital ad that was put out by the Lincoln Project in July of last year. And it was pretty spooky. And it went through a lot of these things that have transpired and are happening today. And so when you say when you said it was not a surprise, Greg, I thought you were going to say not a surprise where we're at today, because I think a lot of us that were trying to warn people and not make it hyperbole, to use a Joe Biden term, you kind of knew this was coming, or at least unfortunately thought it was coming, and here we are in 2025. Less than a year into this second version of the Trump administration, and what I think is just so sad and tragic is that you have American citizens, people who are here legally, being caught up in all this, and you have people at the top. And let me say, like all agencies, I think there are good people probably within Department of Homeland Security that have been there for 10, 15 years. But now you have people, what does it say? Not Bongino.
Bovino.
Thank you.
Bovino.
You got your Bovinos, your Boginos.
Your Bon Jovis.
Bovino. All right. Yeah, Bovino, and he has no regard for the law. I thought this was interesting. You guys probably saw this, but this morning, and this was really interesting because it was at least one of the first people to break it was this Bill Mulligan. I don't watch a lot of Fox News, but I think it's notable that even Fox News is reporting this last night, and it's been confirmed by other more legacy NBC, CBS, Associated Press types. Per 4 senior DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and Trump administration sources, a mass removal of ICE leadership around the country is underway, with up to 12 ICE field office chiefs being removed and reassigned in an effort to increase deportation numbers. And I'll skip down. It's going to mainly affect Los Angeles, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Denver, El Paso, San Diego, Seattle, Portland, and New Orleans. And I would encourage everybody to look this up, because essentially, to your point, Jane and Greg, they're looking at this Bovino guy and saying that's what we want. And I didn't know this until I read various articles this morning that ICE traditionally, even early on in this second Trump 2.0 administration, is still going after the quote-unquote worst of the worst. People are actually drug dealers and severe criminals. And look, I got no problem going after those
I don't think
folks.
anybody does.
No, not at all. But it's expanded to now. I didn't know this, that the border to home, the Customs and Border Patrol agents, they're the ones that are carrying out a lot of this stuff that's going viral on video and on socials, where they're just going after the Penske moving truck, where they pulled up to a Home Depot and opened up and went out and captured. That's actually Customs and Border Patrol. People, including myself, thought that was ICE. So what they're trying to do now, my understanding from this new reporting, is they're trying to put Customs and Border Patrol people at the head of ICE, because the numbers aren't high enough. And Trump is upset because and this Corey Lewandowski and some of these really extreme people within MAGA are pushing this.
Well, they have a quota. He has a quota. Stephen Miller has a quota. They want to deport 3,000 people a day. That was pretty much out in the open from the very beginning of the administration. And in order to hit those numbers, you have to grab everybody. So they are grabbing people who are either in the process.
People who are citizens.
Like, they're just grabbing everybody. And I think what should disturb all of us is what seems like unwillingness to even see if these people are criminals.
Well, and that's the thing. And if you're just joining us on Matt and Air on Air here on Civic Media, we are talking to Todd Albo, who is the host of the Todd Albo Show, weekdays, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. right here on the network. We are talking about an ICE agent appearing in court for violating an order from a judge not to throw tear gas at people. And I want to go back really quickly, though, on something you just said, Todd, as far as the surprise element. I said I was surprised that this was even happening in the courts. And I am not surprised this is happening at this point. And with regard to the matter of, who doesn't want to throw criminals out of the country? Criminals should be arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. They should be thrown out of the country if they're undocumented. Those are all reasonable conversations we can have. But it's the people who said, well, I didn't vote for this. I'm not going to get in your face and say, I told you so, but what I'm going to say is, how could you be surprised by this when they're holding signs that say mass deportations now? you couldn't have thought this was just going to be about a certain group of people. So the surprise of people saying, well, I didn't expect children to get handcuffed in buildings, and I didn't expect people in the process to be thrown out. This is not what I voted for. Well, you kind of did vote for this, and you shouldn't be shocked that it was a lie, because Stephen Miller has never made his opinion quiet on how he feels on this topic. He's always said that he wants all of them out. So really, the fact that people can say, are they going too far? Well, yeah, but this is what happened. This is what we should have. This is what we here on the network talked about when we talked about Project 2025 last year, and we were told that's not a thing. Well, here we are, folks, and luckily one judge is standing up and doing something.
Well, but again, we'll see what happens with this, whether or not he's going to follow the guidelines. Mm-hmm. And I think, too, Todd, depending upon what you watch, you're not going to see some of this stuff, because Fox certainly isn't going to broadcast this. Neither are OAN and Newsmax. A federal agent violated a court order against excessive force by pointing a gun in a veteran's face, saying, "Bang, bang, you're dead, liberal." The Chicago Headline Club, a nonprofit representing journalists in the Chicago area, said this happened in Chicago's Little Village neighborhood. Local residents were protesting a large ICE presence. According to the complaint, combat veteran Chris Gentry was lawfully standing on the side of the road, voicing his opposition as agents were driving by. That's when an agent pointed a gun at him and said, "Bang, bang, you're dead, liberal." This sounds bad.
I want to go quickly back, and by the way, I put obviously this Fox News reporting on this change of leadership from in DHS. That was on a tweet, Greg, that was on this Fox News reporter, Mulligan. I put The Guardian. They have new reporting this morning. The Guardian story. I haven't completely read that, but it's very similar to what Fox is reporting, CNN, ABC, NBC this morning on this leadership change. But also something Greg touched on a couple of moments ago. And in this some of the reporting I've read this morning, people within Homeland Security, in particular Customs Border Patrol agents, on deep background, and for those that might not know what that means the source will tell you something, but you can't use their name, their title, but you can use the fact they gave you. Mm-hmm. So on deep background, this person inside the Trump administration literally told this reporter, what did people expect? What did they think mass deportations meant? Mm-hmm. And we were in the hall, right? The Republican National Committee Convention Hall in Milwaukee last year, when there were placards all over the seats, all over the floors, full of signs that said mass deportations now.
Yes.
I mean, if you thought that was some sort of a joke or an election ploy, they were unfortunately serious, and unfortunately in some cases deadly serious. And yes, Jane, this other story you brought up, I think there's, as someone who works at the lowest level at a small little town called Richland Center as the chair of the Public Safety Commission, which oversaw our police and fire department, even there, you're going to have people all across Wisconsin, law enforcement, say, look, there's always one or two yahoos that are aggressive and they need to be taken in hand, and said, that's not the way we do things. And unfortunately, in the Trump administration, those small minority of people in law enforcement that are extreme have been elevated into great positions of power and disrespect for the law. That's tainting all the other good folks in law enforcement, just for everyday police officers in Milwaukee, Waukesha, Appleton, or
Todd,
whatever.
We're going to go to break, and then we're going to have you call in because you're glitching a little bit. We're going to continue this conversation, and Jack, I see you on the line. We will take you when we get back. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. Stay close. Coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, the board lord, coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up a little bit later on today in the 5 o'clock hour with Maggie Dawn, she's going to talk to Robert Held. He is an attorney in Chicago who will share his personal accounts of being detained by ICE for 8 hours. That is coming up with Maggie in the 5 o'clock hour today across the network. We've been talking about ICE particularly in Chicago, and some of these sure seems like egregious overreactions to protesters. Jack from Merrimack has been waiting very patiently. Good morning, Jack. What did you want to say?
Good morning. Well, I got a bit of a rant this morning because here's what we've got. We have armed, masked agents claiming to be from the government, but either unable or unwilling to show any kind of ID. They are wearing uniforms you could buy or rent at a costume shop.
Yep.
And their probable cause for picking up people is either ethnicity, according to SCOTUS at least.
Yep.
Or do you have a tattoo? No, I don't, but there are a lot of people that do these days.
Mm-hmm.
And just a few years ago, what would this be called? I think the term is kidnapping. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
it's terrible. This is not in America.
And also, Jack, these are the things that this is the thing I grew up listening to the U.S. media news outlets talking about countries that had dictators who were disappearing the enemies, disappearing the disliked, and doing whatever they will with them, whether it's deportation, execution, hiding them away. But this is something that we grew up thinking happened in other lesser places, and that is happening here now. And the defenses from some for it is reprehensible, but again, it's about judges like this, the one we're talking about, who's saying there needs to be at least some standards. You can't just go around doing whatever you want. And also, I agree, the mask thing is disturbing.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Todd Alba is here, our friend and colleague and host of the Todd Alba program from 2 to 4 across the network. I want to share this with you too, Todd. We were talking about this neighborhood in Chicago over the weekend. There is a running group in Chicago that posted on social media. One of our athletes was on his way home from a long run yesterday. As he turned onto his block, he found that Border Patrol had blocked the road. Agents threatened to break out his windows if he didn't move his car. Before he could act, they pulled him out of his car, knelt on his back, subdued him. He never resisted. He broke 6 ribs. This man broke 6 ribs.
Jane, you and I have talked about offline. I told our producer, Zomers, yesterday, so we should really start a segment at the end of the show called Here's What We Didn't Get to Today.
Yeah.
And I mean, because there are stories like this, unfortunately, every single day right now in America. And what you just read, that account, sadly, that's not unique. And it's happening all across America. And I'm glad that shows like yours and, occasionally ours can touch on this to make people aware. But I think there's also a sense of, from the general listener out there, is like, okay, but what do I do about it? And I think that the important thing is for people to remember, I hope, assuming that we have legitimate midterm elections next fall, get out and vote. Get out and vote. I mean, you can have all the protests you want, and I think that's great in terms of knowing we're not alone and for community, but it's actually not going to change anything unless people go to vote. And on the left, that means no more of, oh, what about Gaza? I can't bring myself to vote for the lesser of two evils. Vote. On the right, it means don't say, well, but I think it'd be better for the economy. You have to vote for sanity. People are going to stand up for the Constitution. It's not zero sum, or it shouldn't be. Guess what? You're not going to get everything you want, but we have to start electing people in the midterms to Congress who are going to uphold the law and the Constitution. Period. Full stop.
We at the very least upholding the Constitution as far as checks and balances, where we have, if not the Senate, at least the House, who will say we're going to do everything we can to stop this agenda. Just even if to just stop things, but. I don't disagree with you, Todd.
Well, and I guess the other thing that I want to share, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, Todd, You know, deportations happened under Obama and also happened under President Biden.
Mm-hmm.
They did deportations too.
Yes.
They didn't do this.
They did them legally.
They did them legally.
Yeah.
They gave people due process.
Yep.
There's another story we're not even going to have a time to talk about. A MAGA devotee, Roberto Mosquera, thought Trump would unify the country. It turns out that they deported him and they sent him to this country in Africa I have never heard of.
Right.
This is what's happening.
The cruelty is the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's meant to send a message. It's meant to intimidate. It's meant to, and that's why I think the things like the No Kings protests are important, because it shows that we're not going to sit back and just take it. That's why I think Governor Pritzker in Illinois, his punch him in the nose. We're not going to take this, and so I think those things are important, but. I think people, unfortunately, better buckle up, especially this new reporting, because of the new monies in the budget now, and this change of leadership at the top of ICE. You know, as the late great John McCain was fond of saying, "Remember, boy, everything looks darkest just before it all goes pitch black."
Oh, thanks, Todd.
We're going to close on that happy note. Join Todd Alba this afternoon from 2 to 4 across the network. He joins us every other week. Thank you so much, my friend. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
News is coming up next. When we return, we're going to talk about childcare with Corrine Hendrickson. Stay with us. You are listening to the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.